Started recording as well.
Yes, and we are also recording right now. So just make sure to keep those cameras off, those microphones off, and then any questions, comments, you could put them in the chat. Before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Michaela. I work in the Career Center in the From Here to Career program. And thank you for coming. So I'll pass it off to my other colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Manea Ortega. I'm also in the program as a peer educator here at the Career Center from the From Here to Career program. I work alongside with Michaela and Cesar. So now I'll pass it on to Cesar.
Thank you, Manal. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Cesar. I'm also one of the peer educators here from the on-campus student employment team. And I work along with Manal and Michaela as well. And I just want to say happy National Student Employment Week to everyone. And thank you for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you all. So we can go to the next slide. So like Cesar mentioned, it is National Student Employment Week. This is the first of a three-part series that we're doing for National Student Employment Week for all student employees that work on campus. Each year, CSUN joins in celebration of the National Student Employment Week in the month of April to celebrate and recognize the value of student employees, student employment professionals, and student supervisors. This year, the Career Center will host events throughout the week to honor and appreciate CSUN students for their impact on the university and Northridge community. So thank you to all the student workers out there. We know it's hard to balance school and work, but you guys do it and you do it well. Before we get into all the nitty-gritties about resumes, I wanted to let you guys know about some of the resources that we have here in the Career Center. When you enter, this is what it would look like. So there's a lot of things that we have for you guys here, and we are in Bayramian Hall 413 with our hours on the screen below. Some of the services that we have are career counseling and drop-ins. This is usually when you'll meet with a peer mentor and they can help you with like resumes, drop-ins, which is drop-ins with like resumes, cover letters. There's Maddie's Closet, which is a free professional outfit per academic term. So summer, spring, fall, winter. We can help you with job and internship search. And this is also the area where you'll find Handshake. We, like Cesar Monet and I are in, we're in the peer educators from the From Here to Career program, which is a career readiness program for student employees. So if you are employed on campus and you will be employed next semester or next year, you can ask your supervisor and they can connect you with us. And we also run many events, just like this one. We also do like career fairs, informational sessions, and on-campus interviews. So the difference between drop-ins and career counseling is that drop-ins, you don't need an appointment. You can simply show up, drop in during our hours. We are in person and virtual for drop-ins, and they're about 15 minutes. They're pretty short. And this is where we'll do like those resume critiques, cover letter critiques, or we could help you with a major career exploration if you have any general questions about that. Now, career counseling, on the other hand, you do need an appointment and they are a longer session and they can help you dive deeper into your major career if you're not sure if you're looking to maybe change your major or if you're not sure about what you want to do after you graduate. This is where you'll meet with a career counselor and they can help guide you through that. Now, Maddie's Closet, I urge all of you guys to go to Maddie's. There's so much clothes there, and there's so much things that you guys can do with these clothes. They can help you for an interview. They can help you for an internship. And these are the hours. And so it is, again, it is like a drop-in style where you'll come in, you'll check into the Career Center, and then someone from Maddie's Closet will come and assist you. And they have like their own little stylist that can help you with that can really tailor it to whatever you're looking for. Here are a few of the upcoming events for April and May. So there's the recent grad and alumni job fair. If you are graduating, this is a great way to network. And you can also meet alumni who might be in your field, and you can see where they got there and how they got there. And then there's also the Launching Your Career series at April, and then the one in May, the first one in May, where you can also do a lot of networking and you can see how the AI can help you with your job market. You can scan that QR code there and it will take you to the event. Thank you. And it will take you to Handshake where you can register for them. Now the From Here to Career program. This is what Minea, Cesar, and I specialize in. We are peer educators in this program, and it's a career readiness program. There's so many things that employers are looking for, and we help students prepare for that and get ready for that. We help them really utilize their transferable skills and understand what those are so that it can help them if they're looking for an internship or if they're looking for a job off of campus or if they're looking to graduate and seeing what they can do there. We also host like alumni events. So they get their own specific alumni event where they can meet a CSUN alumni and they can really pick their brain and ask them so many questions about it. This is CareerLink. Now, I'm sure if you guys have come to drop-ins that you've been familiarized with this, CareerLink is a great career exploration tool, and you can do a lot of self-analysis here as well. So it's going to be a lot of your own exploration on this, whereas we'll really help you guide through how to explore it. The tab we're going to be focusing on today is that job search and preparation tab where you'll find the resume guide online. It's going to be the same as Handshake. You're going to log in with your CSUN credentials. I'm just going to highlight the yellow tab really quickly where you can find, if you are looking for a job on campus, you can find jobs on Handshake, or there's a few more there that, yes, and there's a few more there that aren't on Handshake that you can find in that yellow tab as well. Here's a few of those. So things like the SRC or the LRC, those things have their own that aren't found on Handshake, but they are on campus employment. So there are a lot of benefits of working on campus. These are just a few of them. I'm going to highlight some of them on here, but one that I really enjoy is that they understand that you're students first and that academics come first. So they work around your academic schedule, and it can help you learn new skills for your job and maybe your career goal, or maybe a job like an internship. But things like working on campus, they can help you network and connect and learn so much. It can help you become independent and foster your independence. And it can help you also with school. Students who work on campus tend to do better academically because they have that motivation of work and school, that good balance. A big one I want to highlight is those networking opportunities as we go to the next slide. Now I'm going to pass it off to Cesar, who will really get you guys going active with those festivities.
All right, thank you, Michaela. So I know we covered a few things. It's been a minute already. We just want to have a little quick check-in on just how you're all doing. Please type it on the chat. Let us know how you're doing. And then for our questions, if you do work on campus, let us know what department you work for, or if you have worked in the past for an on-campus job, let us know what department you work for. Or if you currently don't work on campus, but you are interested, let us know which department you might be interested, or if you're interested in working on campus at all. Make sure please just type it on the chat. We'll give a few minutes to do that. So I see someone at the library, great. Student housing, we love that. Blaze Pizza, awesome. USU Price Center, awesome. IT, nice. College of South Florida Behavioral Sciences, a tutor. Thank you all for sharing. Health and Human Development, nice. Badge project, that's a really great one. Okay, nice. Rehab. Okay, I see someone is interested in working for a social media production department. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you all for sharing those. For those that are interested in looking up for an on-campus job, like Michaela went over, make sure you check on Handshake. Also, those departments that she highlighted, those may not be on Handshake, but remember, they do advertise on their own web pages. So always stay connected. All right, so let's go over a resume. So remember, your resume, it's an important document that you will be using throughout your career. It's pretty much your way of telling the employer, whoever's hiring, you tell them that you're a good candidate for that job that you're interested in, and pretty much it's a collection of your experience, your transferable skills, your education, and you want it to always be, ready and updated. Again, this job and today what we're going to focus on is transferable skills. How are you going to implement in your resume? Again, we want to use the resume to find that job you're looking for and eventually, that career of your dreams. So let's look at some ways to elevate your resume. So before we get started, let's go over some do's and don'ts, some basic rules, right? So you must have your contact info, right? That's the basic. These things have updated however, throughout the time. You don't need to have a lot of details about yourself, right? Just the basic one, your email, phone number, location, right? You must have your education, right? That's very important. Your experience, right? It's a way to tell the employer or whoever's hiring to let them know that you have the basic skills and the actual experience to be a qualified candidate. This is a must-have. You must tailor your resume to the job you're applying to, right? So these are some of the optional skills, certifications, clubs, right? Any professional development, volunteer experience. Like I said, the must-haves, you must have them in your resume. Those are expected. The other ones, as we'll go over, explain, those are optional. Now, to avoid, you definitely want to avoid your pictures. We understand you all look great in your pictures, your headshots, but please do not put them on your resume. It is not appreciated by employers. You don't need to have too much personal info, right? You don't need to have your date of birth, your marital status, citizenship, even that you don't need to have your full address on the resume, right? You need to have your location. References, those are going to be optional and those are going to be on a separate page. And those are going to be after the content the employer is interested in you. You don't need to have them on your first initial resume. And always avoid using the same resume. Again, like I said, you must tailor your resume to the job you're applying to. Now, let's look at some details on how to actually format your resume. So as you can see in this preview that we have in this example, they're using a lot of space throughout the resume. What's important is that you have to have a summary of your education, right? Your experience, and most importantly, relevant skills, right? This is going to be a well-organized, easy to read and easy to look at document. And again, it's going to be focused to the job you're applying to. That means tailored to the job you're applying to, right? The purpose of this document, this resume, is to land that interview. So what font should you use? Always stick with an easy to look and easy to read font, right? And what do we mean with that? You want it to be at least 10 to 12 point font. Remember, if someone can read your resume, employers can too. What are some good fonts you can use? We recommend Times New Roman, Calibri, Arial, Georgia. If you are using colors, that's allowed. However, use it sparingly, right? You don't want to go too crazy extreme colors. We recommend stick with blue and black. For the font, as you can see in our preview, you mainly want to use the big font for your name and your sections of your resume. Again, same thing for the font, right? The color, you can definitely use a different color for those, but don't go more than 2 colors. Some good tips is that use all the space, like I mentioned before, put into your margins, right? As you can see, this one is really into those margins. You want to use the space in between your sections. You don't want it to have to pile up. And another one, you must export your resume in a PDF, right? Again, PDFs are really useful to share files, to mix the file to be accessible by anyone opening your document online. All right, so let's dig in a little deeper. Let's zoom in. Let's start with your contact. So again, some material is going to be your full name, email address. You want to have a professional sounding email address. Maybe the one you use in middle school, even high school, it's not okay, right? Maybe change it. You can use your school email. However, you know that eventually you're going to transition out your school email. So please use your personal professional email. You must have your city and state. Again, you don't need your full address, use your city and state is fine. Some additionals is going to be your LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, we highly recommend you use a LinkedIn. And for those that applies for your portfolio link, right? Maybe those who are applying for more creative roles, you want to share that creative portfolio link. Next up, we're gonna go, we have an objective. Again, this is gonna be an optional section, but again, if you do want to have it, we recommend it maybe when you're applying for jobs in a job fair or you're networking. It's good to have that objective. You don't want to have it to be more than one sentence and be clear and concise with it. It's actually named, specify the job you're actually looking for. Next up, we have your qualification summary. Again, this is another optional part you can have in your resume, but we recommend that if you are going to use bullet points, stick with one sentence or a short, small paragraph. You wanted to mention your skills that are relevant to the job. Transferable skills, technical skills, and relevant skills are going to be, again, tailored for the job you're applying to. Next up, we're going to look at education. So we have here, add your degree. We recommend spell out your entire degree. One rule of thumb is do not use acronyms or abbreviations. Don't assume someone's going to know what they understand, right? And that goes along with the school. As you can see, we spell out Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, concentration in social welfare. If you have a concentration, that's okay to put it there. Again, for the school, we use the whole name, right? California State University Northridge. Again, season is in parentheses, but don't assume someone's going to understand what school you went to. And if you want to have some additionals, right? You can have your relevant coursework, your GPA, honors. If you didn't make the things, that's optional. Another essentials you must have is your date, right? You don't need to list when you started going to school. However, you do want to list when you expect to graduate. If you don't know it, but you're not, or you're close to, you can put expected graduation date. However, you must follow the same format for your dates. If you have gone to more than 2 universities, that's okay. You can list it as long as you list why you're listing, right? So this one, they require another degree. That's okay to list it. Next one, we're going to look at experience. So for your experience, again, if you're using bullet points, stick with bullet points. We highly recommend that no more than 3 to 5. Sorry, between 3 to 5. Again, these bullet points, you want them to be action statements, right? So you want to add the action or action verb, right? What you did, the task, and then eventually you want to add some results, which are going to be called specifics. You want them to be concise, one sentence, no more than that. And again, for this one, you're going to use your transferable skills. We're going to go deeper into that. But again, as you can see in the example, they are very consistent with what they're actually trying to apply for the job. Now, let's go over transferable skills. What are transferable skills? These are pretty much any skills you're using currently in your academics. For those who do have an on-campus job, any skills you're using for your on-campus role, even a part-time job. Again, like I said, academics, projects, homework. These are going to be transferable because you will be using them in the job that you're going to be applying after college, right? These are going to transfer over as you're going to continue to grow in your career. Some examples, we have communication, collaboration, right? These are very self-explanatory. However, I do want to ask if anybody can share in the chat, give me some examples of critical thinking. What are some examples of how you use critical thinking in your transferable skills? I'll give you a few minutes for that. Great, problem solving. I see that exactly. Right, that's something else. Anyway, you have a problem, you encounter a problem doing your job, right? Anyway, you used to solve that problem. So you were dealing with the unhappy customer, right? Using critical thinking to solve the situation. And obviously, the last one, leadership, right? You don't always have to be the president of a club to show that you have that you have leadership. However, let's just say you started something new in your job, right? You started doing tabling in your job, right? Like I just did recently. You can put that in your resume, and that just shows you have some leadership skills. I know we cover a lot, so to put it all together, we're going to go over a quick activity, which Manet's going to take us through it.
Thank you, Cesar. Yeah, so what we went over resume, we're gonna put what we learned to the test. So we have a fun little activity. Next slide, please. So I am besties with Rihanna, and she sent us her resume so we can overview it and look at it together. She's looking at new business opportunities and new job opportunities. So she asked us, the Career Center, to look at it, and I'm going to ask your guys' help to see what's incorrect about this resume or what are some changes that we can make in this resume. With that, can you please put in the chat, like, what are some things that we can correct in this resume? And I'll give you guys a few minutes. Yeah, no pictures. Yeah, she's very beautiful, but we want to steer away from like having pictures and then references. There's a lot of color. Yeah, and clear fonts. Alrighty, so we're gonna kind of go over that at the moment. So yeah, so like we mentioned, pictures. As much as we have nice professional headshots, we would want to have that more on our LinkedIn rather than on our resume, just to show employers, just to make sure that when they're looking at their resumes, like diversity and inclusion, that's always a big part. The next one. So the about me. So she has a big paragraph. We want to steer away from big paragraphs on our resumes because they're harder to read. And since it has a lot of like writing onto it, this will be more fitting in a cover letter rather than a resume. So we will want to save that on a cover letter rather on a resume because it'll be harder to read for employers. Yeah, and her contact info. Her contact info is not appropriate. I would suggest maybe changing it more professional email and also adding her full address. When you're adding your address, it will just be the city, state, and zip code, and that'll be it. And then the next one. So education. So as you can see, she put only the name of the university and then the degree. It would actually be the degree first to highlight that, and then the university, and then dates on the right-hand side. As you can see, it's a little bit harder to read since all the dates are everywhere and the information is on to the left, to the right. It's a little bit harder to read. As for experience, so we see that she has all the right information, it's just formatting it. So as you can see the position, you can see the date, but the thing is for the experience, it's not bullet pointed. So it's just one bullet point and a big paragraph. This would be more fitting in a cover letter, like I said. In a cover letter, you would put into more detail and everything like that. So we will want to condense these bullet points and have like 3 to 5 bullet points like Caesar mentioned. And then references. References, you would have a separate page for this, and that would be only sent when the employer requests the references. So we would want to save that for later. And then you can look into more further detail of how to send your references to your employer on our resume guide, which we'll send a link later. So now let's add our transferable skills like Cesar mentioned. So we have the job title first, and then we're going to have the company name and location, and then the dates. So that would be our format. But then when we're creating our bullet points, you want to implement the same language that is in the qualification summary of a job description. So like Cesar mentioned, we want to add like communication, organize, maintain, support, document. We want to use these action verbs. They're very important. So we want to use the same verbiage that is on our job description into our experience. And the next slide. Okay, so now we got Maddie the Matador's resume. He sent this to us so we could take a look at his resume. But looking at this at first glance, what is really strong about this resume? I want you guys to add in the chat what you think is really strong in this resume. If there's anything that you particularly like, is it easy to read? You can put this in the chat. Yes, concise bullet points. It's very easy to read each bullet point. Clear fonts and not too much color. Yes, there's only black and white. Is there anything else that is really strong about this resume? Yeah, good format, degree in education. Yeah, good detail, relevant job information, updated. Okay, now let's go over these strong parts of this resume. So as you can see, Maddie the Matador has their full name, and then they have their CSUN email, and then they have their phone number, their location, which is very concise and stuff like that. And it's appropriate for sending their resume to an employer. And let's go on to the next one. So as education, as you can see, Maddie the Matador has a degree in Bachelor's of Arts in Communication Studies, and they put the full name of the school. And you can also, like Cesar mentioned, about the relevant coursework, you can add any coursework that you've taken that fits in the job description. If there needs to be a certain type of skill that the job is requiring, you can add coursework. If you don't have a lot of experience in your field, you can add your coursework. And then let's move on to the next one. So dates are on the right hand side and they're reverse chronological order. What that means is basically the first experience that you have will be either the present or most recent experience, and then working backwards from there. So just to keep it organized and everything, the dates are clear, they're on the right hand side. And when employers are reading your resume, they're only reading it from top to bottom. If it's already hard to look at within the first few seconds, it's gonna be really hard for the employer to understand your resume and what you're trying to entail. And then the next one. So for professional experience, like I said, it's just the position name. You want to put the full position name that you are working at currently or most recent, then the name of the company, the location, and then 3 bullet points, adding those transferable skills like we mentioned before. Now let's move on to our reflection. So I want you guys to type in the chat, what are some transferable skills you're currently using in your on-campus employment? If you're not working on-campus employment, any like volunteer or working off campus, what are some transferable skills you guys are learning right now that you can add onto your resume for, maybe a potential internship, a potential job opportunity? Please type in the chat. Yeah, collaboration, conflict resolution, budget management, quality customer service, working with ticketing system. These are great transferable skills. Communication, goals. Yeah, these are great transferable skills that we can add onto our on-campus and from working on campus onto our resume and for future jobs or internships in the future. Next slide, please. So that's the last of our activity. If you have any questions either about the Career Center or what we went over today or anything along the lines of that, you can please put it in the chat and we can get back to you. If not, we want to hear your feedback just for future workshops. So you can scan the QR code if you can, and please fill out our survey. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. It's just to see how we did today, and we want to hear your feedback. Next slide, please. Okay, since we touched on some Career Center resources, we want to have the resources here for you. So if you need a direct link for Career Link, a resume guide, or website, you can scan these QR codes, and we'll also put it in the chat if you have a hard time scanning these QR codes. But these are some of the resources that we do offer, either through drop-ins or online. Okay, and next slide. So, like Michaela mentioned, we're celebrating Student Employment Week. So we have few more other events this week. The next event tomorrow will be Resume Revamp, where we have on-campus CSUN supervisors and also career staff looking at your guys' resume. They're basically like mini drop-ins where you can come in, get your resume checked, and we can kind of go more in depth of what we talked about today. And then Thursday, which is our last event, it is our From Here to Career alumni panel. Usually our alumni meetups will only be for the program, but we're opening it up to the CSUN community where you can meet some of the alumni that had on-campus employment and what they're doing now since they graduated and finished their employment here, and what job markets they're in at the moment. So if you want to attend to these events, please scan the QR code here on the right, and it will take you to the site to register through Handshake. So you'll want to register through Handshake to attend to these events. And all of these events are via Zoom, and the times will be on the description in the chat.
I'll also do a shout out here, Manea. Hi everyone, I'm Genesis, career counselor that oversees on-campus student employment. And for tomorrow's event, there'll be a lot of on-campus employers reviewing resumes and giving feedback to you all as student employees. A lot of our on-campus employers were student assistants just like you were, so ask them about how they pivoted after graduation into jobs outside of CSUN. I know that's always the toughest part, is how to format your current on-campus student employment for after graduation, but you'll be able to talk to folks who've done it before. So I encourage y'all to come, ask their perspective, and see what they can share with you based off of their experiences.
Sorry, cut off. Thank you, Genesis. I also want to add, if any of you are looking for an on-campus job, this would also be a great way to meet with some maybe potential professional, future employers. Again, these are full-time staff that oversee certain employees. So most of the time, they probably will be maybe applying to their roles that they have available. So definitely, attend and maybe use it as a way to connect, networking.
Thank you,
Also-
Cesar. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. Yeah, also add in that for the students who are here looking for an on-campus job, the Career Center is hiring for peer educators, I think currently is what we have live right now. And we'll put that information in the chat for you as well. There it is. So feel free to take a look at the roles that we are hiring for currently, if you are interested in working for the Career Center. But if you are, I encourage you to attend our event tomorrow because Veronica will actually be one of our resume reviewers. So please attend the next two events. It's great perspective to hear from other people, from alumni, from on-campus employers. So I encourage you all to register for the next week's events. But I know the peers right now will also take any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Yeah, while you guys are getting to those questions, I also wanted to add that I put the drop-in schedule in the chat, and I will do that again. So if you guys would want to come in for drop-ins, they'll resume these normal hours next week. But this is again where we can look at those resumes to see how you guys revamped your resume after this week's event.
Thank you, Michaela, Genesis, and Cesar. Now touching on that, we can go to the next slide. So that concludes our event today and our resume workshop. If you have any questions or anything like that, please type in the chat. We're gonna try to answer every question that we have here. Like we said, we're located in Baramian Hall, and if you have any questions afterwards that you didn't think of today, you can also email our student employment at csun.edu, or if it's just general career center, you can visit our website, which is csun.edu/career, or email us at career.center@csun.edu. But if you guys have any other questions, you can reach us from there or anything like that, or you will see us during drop-ins. But yeah, thank you guys. Happy National Student Employment Week.
Please fill out the survey if you're still here.
Do see a question in the chat from Carla. And the question is, what if I'm applying for a job and I have no experience in, for example, she's applying to HR positions, but she's studying psychology. Do y'all have any advice for Carla or Kayla? Carla, sorry.
Yeah, I would say you could also draw on if you volunteered anywhere or any anything, if you're like, oh, that doesn't count as an experience, everything has something transferable to it. So you can use, like we said, like if you've communicated in the past, you can also draw on that. And even your academics, you can draw, like if you've had projects or if you've had, like you've gone to a conference and you've met someone, all of these things can help you apply for different jobs. And academics, they might have like specific courses that might shine in your field that you can add onto your resume. And you can see how to do that in the resume guide I'll attach to the chat.
Yeah.
I also
Also,
wanted to add, oh, sorry.
go for it, Cesar.
I wanted to ask a question. That is a very common thing that happens, especially when your previous experience, it's not highly related, right, in verbiage to the job role you're applying to. However, like Michaela said, almost any skills you're using for any role or volunteering, even your academic work is transferable. It's all matters of looking at the job description and picking out what skills are actually requiring that you can actually draw from your previous experiences. So it's very important to pay attention to that detail on the job description. And another way you can also do is maybe if you are in contact with a recruiter or anybody within that company that can give you more information about the role, it's always important to do that just because it gives you more information. That way you can, be more informed of how you can actually apply for this role. Do not be discouraged. Sorry,
So I have
James.
another question. Good response. I have another question in the chat from Devante. She says, she's a first year student or they're a first year student and they're asking if every on-campus job requires a mock interview or an interview.
I can answer this
Mhm.
one. So basically, when you are applying for on-campus employment, you will send in your resume and cover letter. Majority of on-campus employment do require a cover letter, and they do require an interview. And once you have that interview and they move forward, you would fill out the paperwork with HR, and basically with that, you make an appointment with HR to fill out that paperwork beforehand and then send it off to them so they can finalize everything. But if you have trouble with interviewing, you can come into drop-ins and we can give you some tips about interviewing. If not, we have also our career counselor. They also specialize with helping you do a mock interview beforehand. So once you have that practice and you feel great about that, you can go into the interview more confident and have the tools to, do well in the interview.
And then I'm noticing a few people are asking about where you can find the recording of this. This will be posted on the CSUN Career Center YouTube page, and I'll attach that link in the chat. But all workshops that we do online, those will be uploaded to the CSUN page on YouTube.
There was also such a great question that was addressed earlier by a student employee that I'll bring up now, but we answered in the chat. But Danny asked if I have leadership experience in an on-campus club, would that fall under professional work experience?
I think I might have added to that question. It just depends on the role you're applying to and how you want to use that experience. However, typically it could be listed as either leadership. You can also list it as that leadership experience, or listed as a club as well. As if you are a part of several clubs, you can just have your own section like that. Another way you can use it more strategically is have it as a professional development. If the club you're part of or you were a leader in is related to your field, you can have it listed like that. However, listed as a club, sometimes it is understood by a lot of employers that you are drawing from the skills in that club, especially if you were a leader. So it just depends on how you want to do it. It's optional. This is a part where you can be creative with your resume. However, it's always good to always get it overlooked by somebody. And like we have been mentioning, we do have drop-ins to do that, where you come in and we can take a look at your resume and give you some feedback. But that is a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, also, sorry, Genesis. Also
You're
with
good.
that one, if you would rather have, instead of two separate, like professional and like volunteer experience, you can combine it into like one experience section, if that can help you. I think also how involved you are in all of your different experiences can help you pick which one is relevant to whatever position you're applying to.
Thank you all. There is a question from another student that says, what assistance is there for helping students get laboratory experience?
I can talk about this one. So we can help you with like searching for different either internships or on-campus employment with that. I would say if you were to come into a drop-in and ask this question, we would guide you of like maybe reaching out to your department, because certain departments do host laboratory experience or internships on campus. So depending on your major and stuff like that, your department would offer along the lines of that, but we can help with the assistance of applying or helping you navigate that search.
All right. So looks like we don't have any other questions in the chat.
Sorry, I think I said one that says, how has your on-campus employment helped you network within your desired field? I can answer that a little bit. It's that was a tricky one. However, in my personal experience, it has helped me in the way that most of my supervisors and even coworkers have referred me to different jobs, different companies, or even told me about different opportunity. I'm sorry, people I could talk to get more information based on my desired field or job. I am a marketing student, and sometimes it's a little tricky. It's just, however, with networking, you have to be open to the idea that it's not always going to be a one straight like reciprocal thing where you get a job offer right away or referral, but it's more just exploring those opportunities and learn who you can talk to and get that experience or that piece of advice that's really helpful. And that's been my experience so far. I've gotten so much advice on how to go from my academics to my on-campus job to my professional development.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off Cesar a little bit. So, my experience working on campus has helped me network by just talking to more people than I would if I'm not working on campus or if I'm just in classes. It's helped me like reach out more to like supervisors or people who may be a CSUN alumni or see what other fields they've taken to get where they are. I think it's more about having that connection and not just having contacts, but having that connection and that relationship with someone that can help you with an on-campus job and finding out different branches of whatever network you're looking for.
Do you have another question in the chat for you all? It says, would you use AI to tailor your resume? It's a big question. I could also take it if no one feels
Oh, sorry.
comfortable. Go for it.
I would say AI, it's still very new, so definitely use it as a tool. You don't want to have it write your whole resume just because employers will detect that. And it's not a good way to go about it too, just because you want to write your own I guess most of it yourself. So you know what you're talking about in your resume, right? Most of the times is that during the interview, they will refer to your resume, and if you're not really sure what you wrote, what's written on there, it can look bad in the interview. However, it is good to maybe help you format, like maybe spell check or grammar, or even give you different ideas on how to go about it. But I wouldn't rely on it 100% just because, again, it is very detectable, and you always want to write your own resume just because it's you on your own words. That's my personal opinion on that. But go ahead, Jesse. Sorry.
No, yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think, AI does have a lot of benefits that can help you all with thinking about how to format your resume and what are some ways to format that are, again, the big three with resumes is they're easy to read, they're organized, and that they're tailored to the job description, no matter if you're applying to a job on campus or most importantly, applying to a job outside of CSUN. So I think what AI can help with is making sure that your descriptions that you've already created and you've put time in to create and develop, it can maybe help refine those things for you and give you a second set of eyes. But of course, you always have the Career Center as well to help you with certain questions that you might have specific to formatting your resume. All right, let's see.
And that's another one. It says, Is research on campus the same as any other science-related campus job? Um, I would say it just depends on how you want to label it. However, you can list it as either on-campus job. If you did get paid for it, it's good to list it as paid experience and along the lines where you are listing any other paid experience. If it was volunteer, definitely list it as somewhere that it shows that it's volunteer work. But again, you could use it in either or. If I've had met with a lot of students who have done a lot of different um, type of research and even shadowing, right? And I would say I would recommend to list it as professional development if it was not paid. But again, it's just on you. And but if you was paid, definitely list it in a way that it shows that you were paid for this research. I don't know if anybody else wants to answer this.
I could chime in just because the next question that the student follows up with, and thank you for catching that, Cessa, I didn't see it, was they said they were a little confused on what research is. And research can be a variety of things, but if there's like research that you're doing on campus, it's usually you're either engaging in your own research where you have a question and you're looking into how to answer this problem or question, or you're working with a professor who's already doing research. A lot of the professors on campus do research as a part of their roles, a part of their job expectation. So it could mean that you're assisting them, and it could mean that you're reading articles and you're finding data and you're organizing things. It really just depends on what the role is, but yeah, you could be a research assistant on campus, but you could also engage in research that maybe is off campus. It really just depends on you and your role. But I do know Isabel put some great links for some organizations that do engage in research and help students understand what engaging in research means and what are some different ways they can get involved. So I encourage you all, if you have more questions, to come by to the Career Center to get your questions answered.
Yes, I do see another one. It says, can I get an off-campus, can I get a job off campus without previously working on campus?
Yeah, I can answer this one. So yes, you can definitely get a job on campus without working on campus. A lot of jobs on campus, they are like entry-level positions or like student assistant positions where it's getting your foot in the door and connecting with either if it's like your major, you can connect to that department, that community of that those students there and that faculty there. But you definitely can get a job on campus without having prior experience on campus. Just make sure to like tailor that resume, come in if you need a little bit more assistance, but it is 100% doable.
Right, I'm just looking at our time, so I think we have one last question and then we'll go ahead and wrap up today's session. But the last question is, what would you say is the best summer on-campus job?
I think it would depend on what you're looking for. And I know a few positions that might be open is if you live in housing, there might be summer RA in housing, and there's also like some other positions open in housing for the summer, like front desk or student assistant positions. But it really depends what you're looking for, how much time you're willing to invest, how much you want to work, things like that. But best is up to you and what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough
Sorry.
question because it just depends on the student. Did you want to add something, Cessa?
So yeah, I do want to say I'm a biased career center. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I think I agree with what it's been said. I know they're following up which partners will be open. You can always look on Handshake, and look at their web pages. Again, if they're not listed on Handshake, like the ones that Michaela went over, they are gonna advertise their roles on their own web page. But definitely check on Handshake, because a lot of them will be open up for the summer soon. But I agree, it just depends on what you're looking for to get out of your summer experience and what aligns with your interest. It just depends where do you want to go and what do you want to do. And if it's something that is not really related to your field, that's okay. It's always good to get that extra experience. Why? Because you get more transferable skills.